Hi guys, a live show at the craziest time. Let's hope some people join. Um, but yeah, so Tesla up a lot, crypto also. Um, I'm making money, of course, since these are my only positions, but it's still really not fun. Uh, I know that sounds strange, but I really want a big crypto position, build a big crypto position, and to be mainly a crypto investor. And I'm not right now. And yeah, that would really not make me happy if I miss the next crypto boom. And this is of course what comes up when it suddenly pumps. Uh, Bitcoin, it touched two times 7,900 US dollars, and I was hoping for it to break down, and it did break down. It goes below 7,900 finally after testing it 2-3 times, and goes to 7,500. So my 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 expectation is that it will go much deeper, because it starts raining here. Because I mean, if something breaks, it goes much deeper than just a 5% correction. But it only went to 7,500, and then it stops there for a while, a day or two, and then suddenly now it jumps in a couple of hours from 7,500 to 9,500. Very strange behavior. Um, and the explanation here is that the Chinese um, overlord. Um, said something positive about Bitcoin or about blockchain, and that explains, of course, the price explosion. Because yeah, crypto is a very small market, 200 billion. Of course, if something with such a big influence on market prices and so much capital says something positive, yeah, you have a huge buying demand that pushes up the price. So this is what's happening now, and of course, there's always the risk with crypto, and yeah, you have to always take that into account when investing in something like this. That you can be left behind if if suddenly something happens that causes a huge spurge in buying. It's easy to pump these prices, and of course that sucks, but yeah, that's the way of the world. That's why you always have to think of both scenarios and see if you're happy, which I'm doing often. And I just said in a video that I have to find a place without rain here. That um, I'm okay either way, but clearly that doesn't seem true because I really am not happy when I see crypto pump like that. Um, Hi all, welcome to the live show. Um, uh, so, of course, it's great to see Tesla pump, but the most important thing here is to look at your probabilities, huh? And look at whether you're realistic in estimating them correctly or not. And so, for me, for example, I raised the probability that we would go to 6,000 Bitcoin or about 160 billion market cap from at about 60%, 66%. I raised it to 70%. Why? And was that correct? Huh? And also, I lowered the chance that we would make a new bottom from about 33% to only 20%, so that we would not go below 3,000. But I do think this is based in reality because the way you, I estimate probabilities is not on current price action, it's based on past price action. Huh? And so current price action very little influences the probabilities. It's always the case that when you estimate probabilities that it's possible that, well, the small chance does happen, and that's happening right now. there is always a small chance that crypto pumps out of nowhere and goes vertically up. But that chance is low, but it can happen. That doesn't change the probabilities in any way. And so why did I raise the probabilities from 60 to 70% that we would go to 6K? Um, uh, uh, well, it's because just discovering that in the past, this trend line that I often share and that I love so much, the average trend line of growth of crypto, also called the logarithmic regression trend line, also called the Trololo chart. I find this a very, very helpful chart because it shows you the average growth of the past, and also you can extrapolate it in the future to see where prices will be in the future. And what I discovered only recently, a week or two ago, was that actually when you project it into the future, this is not an average, this turns out always not to be an average price, but a top valuation in the next cycle. That's quite a revelation for me. I knew that over time, actually, this trend line is pulled downwards, but I didn't really see it so clearly as this one person showed on the Bitcoin talk.org forum, and that I shared in 2 videos back, where every time the next cycle, the prices do not even touch the trend line. Yes, maybe very shortly, but in previous cycle it didn't even touch. It was actually like an absolute top valuation. And so right now, today, we see that the trend line points to a valuation of 3 trillion by 2023. But that's not an average price then. That's a top valuation, very likely. Not certainly, but very likely. If past patterns continue, as then this will happen. And so 3 trillion by 2023, is that a lot? Yeah, for a new industry, that's of course amazing. But today we are at 200 billion. Yesterday, today we're at 250 billion. We showed up from 210 to 250 in a day. But 3 trillion by 2023. And usually, how does these markets work? When is the biggest gain made? In the beginning or at the end? At the end, it's a parabolic growth curve. Always these cycles. So it's only in the last year that it 10x's the whole market. So it's I mean, if you look at the previous cycle in 2017, we peaked out at 800 billion. But what was the value of all cryptos together at the start of the year? It was only 100 billion. So it eightfolded the last year. So very likely, like, it's only the last year in 2023 that we will go from a valuation maybe 5 times less. So that will be about 500 billion or 600 billion. We will be around that point, and then suddenly the last year we will do a 5x, and we will go from 600, 700 billion or maybe 800 billion to 3 trillion in 1 year. That's how these cycles usually work. So that means that by 2023, 2022, let's say, we are expected to be at a valuation of about 800 billion. This is very, very revealing, because what does that mean for today? Are we going to, is there much upwards potential here? No, we're in 2019, almost 2020, but it will take another 2 to 3 years to go to about 800 billion. That means that it's going to be sideways action for the most part. Yes, we can pump to 400, 500 billion, but likely we'll see another great correction because we're not expected to go to 800 billion anytime soon. Of course, that's the most likely. There is a small chance. Yes, we go into a new bubble in next year. We breach the all-time high of 800 billion. We go into a new bubble. This is possible because the market cap is so small. Yeah, I mean, just a bubble in China will cause that. But you have to always know that China was there also in previous cycles, and has actually always influenced prices a lot to the upside and to the downside, because yeah, the Chinese are known to be gamblers, and they are erratic. They don't have control over their emotional impulses, and the biggest bubbles you will find in China. Therefore, they are very big group thinkers, which does not help to lower volatility at all. And so it's always important to realize that in previous cycles you always also had this influence that one small player, and it was even worse then, could really change the patterns of the market, and could create a boom or a bust easily. This has been always the case, yet it was always true that the next cycle did not exceed the trend line. That was always true. So that's why it's likely to be the case again in the future. So yeah, that's my case. Why I believe that it is. You have to be so careful, and this market will fuck you very badly. And if you don't have a plan, and if you don't stick to your plan, because yeah, emotions do respond strongly with me too. When you see something pump or dump, and you're not, you don't have the right position, or you wish you had more, or you wish you had less, you will do the wrong moves at the worst possible time. So I am very happy with my investment plan. I hope it works out, but that's never a guarantee. Let me take a look at the questions. Hi all, welcome to the live show. Hi Ryan. So when it comes to Tesla, I'm very happy it pumps, but there, nobody asked me, is it too late to invest in Tesla? Interesting. Nobody asked that. But I will answer the question anyway. No, it's not too late. In my opinion, Tesla is a 10x potential, and we haven't even breached the all-time high. The all-time high is $380. Okay, it went very fast the past few days, but it all depends on your exposure whether you have to wait or not. If you all, let's say you want to catch this train, you want to invest in Tesla, you've been keeping an eye on it, but you didn't invest at all. Well, you made a mistake. You should always work in steps when you make investments, simply to protect you from making bad mistakes, bad emotional mistakes. But okay, you didn't take any step, so you're not invested, and now you're like, should I invest or not? Well, difficult. But I would suggest, yes, invest a small amount of the kind of the exposure that you want, and wait for a correction to invest more. I think that's the wise approach. But do invest a small amount. Why? Because just like with crypto, this has a 10x potential. But the difference with crypto is that it is ready to deliver that. It's been 5 years ago that it did a 10x, and since then it has gone sideways. 6 years now. But in the meantime, revenues have tenfolded. And so, yeah, 6 years ago, Tesla was highly overpriced. But this is the kind of premium that you can expect from a high growth tech company that is changing the world, and that is absolutely killing it in adoption, in growth, and that is also a strong emotional product. People love their cars. People like their phones. They love these kind of products. They have a personal relationship with it, and that also reflects in share prices. Just like you see with many tech companies that build consumer products, these people, they also will buy the shares, and that's why you can get huge overvaluation in such stocks, which is certainly not there today with Tesla. There is no overvaluation. It's still seriously undervalued, in my opinion. So yes, it is, even though yeah, it was a lot cheaper recently. Well, a year ago it was more expensive, and 5 years ago it was even the same price. So it is still a good investment, I believe. Yeah. Uh, and the same answer goes for crypto, of course. If you haven't invested in your favorite coin at all, yeah, well, this should be a wake-up call, and yes, you should invest a little bit at a much higher price than you could get it a week ago or even a day ago. Yes, that sucks, but you made a mistake in the past. You should have worked in steps. Huh? So you always have to, when you recognize you make a mistake, well, pay the price. Huh? Admit to it. Apologize to yourself or to your the part of you that that is angry with you. You apologize, and you just try to communicate better with your different internal parts, and do it better in the future by taking decisions that take your different needs into account, because we all are a composition of different needs, different wants, and that's why we can go from left to completely right, and then completely left again. But that's being controlled by your emotions. You can avoid that by negotiating with yourself. Huh? So let me look at the questions. Hi, Girgi, Gumi. Is it still raining here? No, I'm gonna walk down. Hi, Harvey Williams. Amazing call on Tesla. Thank you so much, Harvey. I really appreciate it. Our Harvey asks, isn't it likely that we will exceed the 3 trillion at the next market top? No. Look at my video where I say 2011 is most likely, somewhere around the middle, where I shared the work of this guy on bitcointalk.org that is building up the trend line step by step, cycle by cycle, and proves and shows that the extrapolating this trend line, he does it only for Bitcoin, but I believe this is valid for the whole market. I believe if you do the exercise for the whole market, you will have a similar result. Because actually Bitcoin has been drawing that chart for the most part. Composing that chart has been the majority player up until today. So it has the highest influence on even if you do total crypto market cap, Bitcoin still dominates that. And it has always been in the past a top valuation, not an average valuation, and it even did not hit that valuation in the previous cycle. So no, it is not likely that we will go beyond 3 trillion, but it can happen. Of course, it can happen, and it can happen. We go into a new bubble soon. Much sooner than expected. So you have to protect yourself against that by having a small exposure. Yes. Hi, Yard Master. I'm so surprised so many people are joining. Are you guys all in the US, in Los Angeles? Because this is the only place that has like a normal hour to be on the YouTube. Or are you all night owls living in New York? Or let me know. I'm curious because Europe is not awake yet. And yeah, maybe you're from Asia. They have in the middle of the day. Hi Chesapeake. Do you think there will be a chance to buy Tesla sub 300? No, I don't think. Oh yeah, it's 330. Yes. I think that's still possible, but I would put my buy orders at 300. I think when you buy, it's always, if you want in, it's always wise to offer a high price. And a high price is a round number that just hits a higher price. So you don't buy something at 299, you buy it at 300. But if you sell it at 299. Huh? just because it increases your chances to get filled. People prefer to buy something just below a high price. And that's why you sell it just below a high price. But if you want to buy it, you put it on the high price, but you don't have to offer 310 because that's the same as 300. And of course, in markets, you you may want to offer just a little bit more than that high price because it may just not be hit because there are more orders on that high price of 300. So you put it at 301 is my recommendation. But yeah, hi, Mr. Fool. This is exceptional to see a stock on the stock market jump so much from 250 to 300 in aftermarket, and the next day from 300 to 330. But yeah, I think markets they are not reasonable. And in the short term, anything can happen, and usually why it happens makes little sense. But in the long term, of course, prices reflect value, the underlying value, and with Tesla, this is a lot higher. So that's why I think that it is certainly possible. I think it's probable it will continue to go up, even though it jumped so much. You have a very big short position that is now getting squeezed, so that just creates artificial demand. It's not artificial demand, actually. There used to be artificial sell pressure that now is being neutralized. These people have to buy back shares that they sold and they did not own. They have to buy them back now to fulfill the contract. So that's what's happening, and may push the price a lot higher, a short squeeze. But yeah, many people are cowards. Investors are cowards, and so the big problem with Tesla is, yes, it's a high growth company, but it's losing money, and that's why many people don't dare to invest, because, well, yeah, we've seen many stories of high growth companies that end up broke. You do have to make money, but not just. But if of course Tesla is making lots of money, otherwise it couldn't have been growing. The debt load is actually not that high. It has always made great gross margins, but it reinvested that money, and so there was no profit shown on the books. But many people, that's a little bit too complicated for them. They really need to see it on the books before they believe it, and so this is what happened. Tesla posted profits on the books, and also the story that margins actually go up, gross margins, as the production cost goes down quickly to produce anything. When you double production, your production cost goes down a lot, and this is happening with Tesla, and thanks to that, gross margins are going up a lot. It went down actually for a while. It's in cycles, these things, but in the long term it should go up, and so the upward trend has started again, and it jumped from 16% to 20%. So these are the kind of things that the cowardly investor loves to see, is actually like evidence that it's actually making money. The margins are going up, and there is profit shown on the books, and that's what people convinces to invest, and that's what pumps the price. But this, of course, this trajectory has much more to go. How about the 6K? Yeah, I just discussed my 6K target. I think when it comes to crypto, yes, it sucks seeing it pump like that, and yes, there is always a small chance that it runs away, but we are still, I believe, at the early stages here of the correction. Yeah, it corrected from 14K to 8K, 7,500. You could say that's already a very big correction, but that's only looking at Bitcoin and not if you look at the total picture, you can see that it is very likely that we will see a high and undervaluation of at least minus 55% to the trend line. Even if prices go up, this will sooner or later happen. Likely, not certainly, but likely. And so, yeah, that might not be 6K, it might be higher, but we only went to an undervaluation of 40%. It was again in serious undervaluation. It was again a buy signal. If you didn't buy yet, I hope some of you did that. But it was not a new high in undervaluation, and that is important to see. I believe to really like go to a majority crypto. So I don't think we've seen that, and I think it's likely because it happened in every previous cycle, also in the one of 2011. So that's what gives me confidence that yes, we can wait. But there are many other things, as I shared also in the video, is that we really want to see, I mean, typically in every previous cycle we saw that NVT and RVT, the amount of transactions compared to the value of the network, went up a lot before we had a sustainable bull market. Yes, prices were higher, fiat prices, than the bottom, but it's when it had pumped and then it went sideways, then you saw pick up a lot of the amount of transactions, and then you saw that NVT and RVT went into undervaluation, and it became a great buy again crypto. We haven't seen this yet also, and it has happened in every previous cycle. So this is another thing that, yeah, you can wait for before you go to a majority crypto allocation. Even if it's at higher fiat prices, the risk reward at that point is much better. Because right now there are a lot of dangers, I believe, in crypto. Not only do prices point to sideways movement, because if the peak in 2023 or in 2022 or even in 2021, if we only expect $800 million there, we don't have much room to go up. Actually, we have more room to shake out people, because the market is still way too bullish to be only at 800 billion by that time, but that's actually to be expected. So we need to get rid of more bullishness, and that means usually just disappointing them over and over. And that's how you kill hope. It's by giving it and then taking it away, giving it, taking it away, giving it, taking it away. And that's how you slaughter a bull. And this is likely the process that we are in. Mr. Fool says, I thought 6K was the first buy price. No, I share my plan in detail. You can just follow it up. My first target was, what was it again? It was 8K. I know it was 7,500, but I executed at 8K, and I shared it also. And I went from a crypto exposure of 28% to 40%. Do you think Tesla will consolidate around these levels or dump again back to previous lows? Yeah, I discussed that, Harvey. Valentin asked if I'm still investing in Home. No. Actually, I didn't make money with Home. I bought it and sold it again. I changed my mind. I want to keep it simple and not invest in too many things. I went to the stock market for Tesla, and so I decided to sell it off. Mainly, it was one news item that scared me away from it, and that was that the CEO of Home was paid 40 or 50 million. I don't know how. It could be that it's only paid in the future. I didn't dig more into it because I thought this was really excessive. Home was one of the highest paid CEOs in America for the year 2018, I think, or 19. I think this was really not acceptable. Home was not a $1 billion company. and it was only worth 300 million or so, 400 million. So paying the CEO like 10% of the value of the company as a wage or as a reward, while home has really performed very badly when it comes to stock valuation. It really collapsed strongly from, what was it? The peak was $30 to almost $3, $5. So massive losses. This is really not, I think, acceptable that you then start paying the CEO a lot. That's what scared me away. But of course, financially, it was a mistake because it was a great call. It did go up a lot. It went from $5 to $10 now in only 2-3 months. So some people did stay invested, and all the credit goes to themselves because I didn't do so myself. So often I share value that I don't even use myself, and often I also share bad tips that I luckily also don't follow myself. So these things happen. No, I would not say often, but it does happen that I make mistakes. Some people ignore it and they end up making money. Silky Smooth says that this market is nauseating. Yes, indeed, this market is indeed exhausting. Crypto market. It is, and that's why I call this the title of this show. Patience is a virtue. It's a cliche, but it's very true. If you, as a long-term investor, or like if you want to wait for the best setups as a trader, yes, it just requires a lot of patience because it just takes so much time for a great setup to form, and very often, the market is full of impatient people that can't wait, and so they'll constantly dump the price when you're in a bull market. It goes up, and you constantly have these moments where it's crashing and you get afraid. But you know that you should hold because it's likely going to go a lot higher. But it's a great exercise of patience that is very few people are able to do. It requires lots of energy dedication. The other way around, the same. You're in a bear market, or like you're in the start of a bull market, and it's very likely the bottom needs to be tested, as we are with crypto. And the growth in this new cycle needs to, like, again, slow down a lot compared to the previous cycle. We are not there yet, and it constantly is the case that impatient bulls are pumping the price away from your price targets. It is exhausting, and but yeah, that's our job. That's why we get paid. That's how we make money, and it's in every area like that. You want to be beautiful. Well, you need to have also a lot of patience. You can't be eating when others are binging their short-term eating needs away. No, you have to like have discipline. You can't eat much, and yeah, you have to do many more. Some really have to do exercise, the discipline of exercise to be beautiful. There are so many things you have to do if you really want to look well, and most people really don't have that patience and don't put that energy in. And so yes, it is exceptional if you can really become beautiful. People, you will get many high rewards, but it's very difficult to achieve, and it's the same if you want to make money in the markets. American time, brother. Okay. 7 a.m. here. Early bird, Yardmeister. Hello from Taiwan. Hi. Are you getting FOMO? These emotions I also have. Like when I see the price pump like this with crypto, I'm like, damn. It's running away. Should I buy? Should I buy? Should I buy some Bitcoin Cash or Ethereum because it's running away? But then I go back to my plan, and that's what helps me not to do these things, because my plan is built in such a way that actually as prices go up, my target allocation goes down. So if I update my plan, I'm like, okay, so crypto prices are up, That means there is less undervaluation compared to the trend line. That means that my target exposure is actually lower today than it was yesterday. And that means that no, I should certainly not buy. The only thing I should be doing here is selling, if anything. But I don't sell neither, of course. This is a long-term investment. I'm just trying to build my crypto exposure, but at the right time. But one thing I didn't share, but it's in relation to the previous video, is a bearish argument that is totally overlooked in the market, and I think is very important, and that is that the market leader Bitcoin is fucking up big time. This is not priced in, but the market leader transaction fees has gone up a lot, and so when you sell this story to a newcomer, you say, hey, Bitcoin is great, you have no counterparty risk, you can just send and receive money to anyone in the world, it's very easy to open an account. Well, a newcomer can just say, yeah, but how much does it cost per transaction? $1, $5? I can see here in the history it has costed also even $10, like a year or 2 years ago. Sometimes it goes up to $10 per transaction. And then the other, yeah, that's true, but you don't have to worry about that because you can use Lightning Network where you can do cheap transactions still. And then the newcomer asked, yeah, but how does that work, Lightning Network? Yeah, it's and now you get a complicated explanation. It's some kind of channels, like sounds like magic. And then the newcomer asks, and do you have counterparty risk there then? And then it's like, no, you don't have counterparty risk, but your money is is locked up. It becomes a complicated story that is much less attractive for a newcomer. And so this is probably also going to weigh on the prices. I didn't charge my battery. I'm going to see if I can find a solution. So this is not priced in, and I think is an important bearish argument to it is likely, actually very likely, that we will see the same as in previous cycles, at least. And that means at least, and we're certainly not there yet. One moment. Hey, baby. I'm gonna have to charge my phone a little. Let me continue from here a little bit. Could you... One moment, guys. I'm here in the hospital with my beautiful girl, Tabby. And then my little baby there who is sick, but she's getting much better. Let me see at the other questions. Hi from Canada, London. Very cool, Eastern Europe. Wow, you guys are up, huh? Let me see at the other questions. Cool. 6 in the morning in Europe. Wow, CM invested also in Tesla at an average price of 225. Congratulations. Hi, Crypto Medias. Yeah, it's crazy, the crypto prices. Are you going to take more margin against Tesla? No. I actually cancelled the idea of margin, and I sold all my shares so that my margin was zero again at the same price at about $230, and so I made very little money with my margin. But that's okay. I realized that with margin, I increased the risk more than I increased the reward, and I thought it was a bad deal. I shouldn't do that. That's what the inverse of what an investor should do. So I canceled that. Of course, part of me is now like, "Ah, why did I do that? It went straight up from there, from 230 to 330 today, in only a couple weeks' time. So I would have made a lot more money. That's true, but it's not the wise strategy, because it could have gone the other way also, and then I would have cursed myself. Huh? No, I took a very big exposure to Tesla of 50%, and that has gone up to almost 70%, and then I balanced a piece already and bought crypto with it. I didn't sell shares, but I took a margin loan against it. And that's the right way to use margin loan, is to invest in something else that's totally different, that increases diversification of your portfolio. Then it makes sense to use margin loan. If you find other great non-correlated investments, then you can do that. But still, like, I'm still not like actually using, like, yes, I use the margin loan to buy it, but the moment I bought it, I don't want to be investing on margin, so I put the required amount of Tesla shares for sale to pay off that margin loan, but I can increase the price that I sell them at as price goes up more. So I make extra money, but I don't take extra risk, because the moment the price corrects more than 10% of Tesla, I do end up selling those shares and do end up paying off that margin loan. And I think that's the right way to invest. This is actually really a problem, and I got the feeling shortly of it. This is how you really can bust yourself. You take on, you do investments where you increase the risk a lot, and you increase the reward only so less. I mean, yeah, you can really like lose a lot of money that way, and with margin, I mean with leverage, not margin but leverage. And it is already so hard to do the right moves. Buying more as it goes down, selling as it goes up, is very hard, and margin just makes it much harder to do so. It's just gonna play with your emotions even more, and it's already so hard. So I really don't think it's smart to use leverage. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, Crypto Medius asks, do you think it's still a good moment to get into BCH and Ethereum? Because yeah, they can pump a lot. Yes, of course. Compared to Bitcoin Core, I think yes, it's still a great time to sell Bitcoin Core for other coins, any other coins, because the market share of Bitcoin Core is so high today, and it is extremely likely to continue to go down for many years to come. Like people say, yeah, but how can you say all that Bitcoin Core is still at 70% market share? You were wrong promoting Bitcoin Cash in the past and any other coin, because Bitcoin Core is still winning. But actually, that's not true. You have to go look at the cycles. Yes, Bitcoin Core gained a lot of market share back from a low of 33% to 70% a high, but it's topped out. Probably it's corrected already back to 66% or so. From 70% to 66, we are likely at the start of the bull market here, which means that the bear market is over, and it's only during a bear market and the start of the bull market that Bitcoin, or the biggest coin, gains back a lot of market share, simply because during bear markets, while there is a lot of insecurity, people sell, people go to the biggest coin because they are afraid, and they perceive that as the safest investment. That's why the biggest coin drops less than the smaller coins. This is the same effect in the stock market or the bond market or the real estate market. The biggest one drops the least. The most reputable one drops the least. But that doesn't mean that there is a future for the biggest one. No, sooner or later the biggest one gets exceeded by another one that becomes the biggest one, and and that gets all the spoils of being the biggest one. And so and that will lose the least market share during a bear market. Yes, Bitcoin Core is the benefactor of that, but that won't last. And at the moment it loses its first position. The same at the start of a bull market. Huh? Start of a bull market, the biggest one will go up the first because it's perceived as the safest and there is still fear in the market. So people, if they invest in something, it's in the biggest one. And so that's why dominance has gone back up. But has it gone back up as much as in previous cycles? No. The top in the previous cycle of Bitcoin dominance was 85% or so. I haven't checked, but it's something like that before it started its collapse. Once the bull market started seriously, that number started to go down and down a lot from 85% to 33%. So right now we peaked out at 70%. Likely we will bottom at 16% or even 10%. That will be probably the market share of Bitcoin Core in the next bull top. So it will be obliterated again, very likely. So now is the time to change your Bitcoin Core for other coins, because we're likely at the start of a bull market here. Yes, I expect corrections to, I think still high probability that we see lower fiat prices, but I don't think there is a high probability that Bitcoin Core will make a high in market dominance. No, because in the previous bear market, the peak was also reached earlier actually. In the middle of the bear market, the peak was for Bitcoin Core. Right? The 85% peak of Bitcoin Core was actually in the middle of the bear market. The second part of the bear market already lost dominance, and so this is another small indicator we might actually still be in a bear market and make a new low. I still give that a probability, but a low probability of 20%. But there is still some cases to be made for that. Huh? But one of them is, for example, that actually Bitcoin dominance, like things that are pumping, like Ripple, for example, like the first coins that are pumping versus Bitcoin. Does that happen at the start of the bull market or in the middle of the bear market? Well, in the past, it was in the middle of the bear market that actually Ripple and which was a Dogecoin pumped. And when Bitcoin Core started to lose market dominance. So I mean, we see this starts to happen today also, that you see Ripple, like, no, it's not there yet, but there are some early signs that yeah, these coins may start pumping versus Bitcoin, and that doesn't mean it's the start of the bull. It may well be that we're just in the middle of the bear. But there are other arguments why I think that actually no, we're much more likely in the start of a bull because of especially MVRV ratio that I shared 2 videos back. I think shows that. But also the NVT and the RVT also shared in this video also show that. Let me see what other messages we have. Great question by Harvey. Is it frustrating earning a living as an investor because others do not understand the challenges, the full-time effort and emotional control you need, and the work that it takes to become a very good investor? Yes, and that's true for everybody that wants to achieve something. The same with, for example, if you work hard on your looks and you want to look like a beautiful girl or a handsome man, well, people will not respect that, and most people look average, and so when they see someone that's good looking, they will say like, that's probably a bitch. And when they see a handsome guy, they will say that that's probably an asshole. Oh, damn it.